Hello and welcome back to the next training in the ongoing Pink Zebra Consultant Training Program. Last time we talked about getting on the phone, and I shared with you some tips and a really easy formula for making it a little bit easier for you to pick up the phone. This is not an area that most people love in their direct sales business, and it's also a really crucial area that you have to master if you want to be successful. This week we're going to talk about time management, organization, and some tools that'll help you keep your time and your life balanced. We're going to start by talking about the balance in your life and how you keep from allowing all the things that you have to do within your Pink Zebra business to take over your life. During my live events, I often ask the question, how many of you started your direct sales business because of your children, to be home with your children or to spend more time with them? And virtually every hand in the room goes up. Then I follow that up with the question, how many of you would say that your business has taken away from your time with your children or created stress in that area of your life? And amazingly, every hand in the room goes up again. It's usually a pretty big aha moment as the women there begin to understand the price that they pay if they don't learn how to keep the harmony between their business and their life in check. And that's really what this is about. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time on time management today, but I did want to walk you through an exercise that I use with my personal coaching clients to support you in setting up a schedule that will help you maintain that harmony in your Pink Zebra business. If you haven't already, you're going to want to make sure that you go to the ZebraNet site and download the time management worksheet for this week. Let's start out by talking about the philosophy of time management for a minute. I want you to think about your time in the same way that you think about your money, and creating a schedule in the same way that you think about creating a budget. So in order for you to create a budget, you have to first of all know how much money you need each month in order to be able to pay your bills. You gather all your bills together and you put them all down on a sheet or on a spreadsheet so that you know exactly how much money you need each month. And that gives you a roadmap so you know how much money needs to go into your account. The same thing happens as you create a schedule. You can't just decide, I'm going to work 4 hours a day and call that good. That'd be like saying, I'm going to budget $2,000 a month, for all my expenses, and then end up needing more because you weren't clear about how much you needed. It's the same thing with your time. So what I want you to do to begin with, and where this exercise starts, is to look at everything that you're doing, and because you're fairly new, that you think you might be doing in the future as a part of your Pink Zebra business. And you're going to write everything down so that you get really clear about how much time it's going to take outside of doing parties for you to run your business. And there's a lot that you do besides parties, so this is a really important conversation. So that's step one in this exercise. As you look at that worksheet, ask yourself what you do on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis in service of your business. And this is really except parties. I just want to kind of assume that those parties are going to take a night of your time, no matter how many you're agreeing to do each month. And so you don't really count your party times. That's a given. You're looking at 1 to 3 nights a week. This exercise deals with everything else that you do to support your business. And you're going to notice that I've given you 5 categories, and I want to go through those with you. The first one is administrative. And that has to do with anything that you do to support yourself in your business that way. I always say it's what you would pay someone else to do if you could. So taxes, banking, answering emails, anything that you do around website maintenance, dealing with home office if you have questions to answer for them, anything you do that's administrative in nature. Second category is customer support, and that's anything you do in the way of follow-up with your customers. If you're making phone calls, which I hope you are, after the party when they've ordered to make sure they got their order and they're happy with that. If you have customers who need your support with returns or something that's broken, anything that you're doing to support your customers goes in this category. Downline support is the next one, and this is anything you're doing to support the people on your team, whether it's a brand new consultant or someone that you're working with to reach a management position. Anything you're doing as far as meetings, one-on-one calls, training calls, anything to support your downline goes in this category. Host coaching is the fourth, and that is really the host coaching program that I've already laid out for you through the course of these trainings. You should already have in place. That takes you time, so you need to list out everything you do to support that host, from making the MAC, the morning after call, to the thank you notes, to the follow-up calls, to the appointment itself. What do you do in service of your host? And write those things down. And then finally, party preparation. What do you do in order to be able to drive out the driveway to your party? And this could include things like putting together host packets, putting labels on the back of catalogs, making sure that your display is the way you want it and everything's packed and ready to go in the back of your car. I'd like you to go to your current calendar and schedule at least 30 to 45 minutes to complete that section of the exercise before the end of the week, let's say. Make sure that you get it done before next week when you get the training for next week, and it will be one of your call to actions as well. It's really an important piece because step 2 is going to be for you to figure out, based on these items that you've identified, how much time each week each one of those items is taking you to complete. It could be 5 minutes, it could be 5 hours. So you want to figure that out. And then if you're not sure how much time, give yourself a little extra time. Figure on the high side. And once you have all those numbers filled in, then subtotal each one of those categories and do a grand total at the bottom. Now at that point, you're going to have one of two aha moments. Either you're going to look at that grand total number and say, 45 hours a week, well, that's crazy. I don't have that much time. And if that's the case, you need to go back through your activities list and decide what you can delete, defer, or delegate to take it off your plate so that you don't have as much to do. The other aha moment a lot of times people have is they look at that number and it seems small to them. 8 hours a week? Well, it feels like I'm working 40. So what's happening? And what that means is that you have time drainers that are literally stealing your time. Facebook, email, telephone are the 3 biggest. So if you're getting on Facebook and the next thing you know, it's 2 hours later and you haven't completed what you had scheduled to do, that's a time drainer. So you need to really look at that and learn to manage those. So step 3 is really where the rubber meets the road, and it's the easiest step if you've done a good job on the first 2. You're going to create your schedule using a blank monthly calendar. Now this is just one that I actually downloaded from Google. If you Google blank calendars, you'll come up with a lot of options. You can use the Outlook calendar. There's a way to actually download and print out blank calendars on Outlook or Google Calendars. Just make sure that you have a blank one that looks, something like this. And what you're going to do is create your schedule using this page. Now, for most people, having a consistent way of working that's the same every single week is really the best way to stay on track. So that means you're deciding what you're going to do each day of the week and then staying consistent with that. I'd recommend that you set up your schedule and then commit to doing it for at least 30 days before you make any changes. Because you might do something for a few days and it doesn't feel like it's working. You got to give it a little bit longer than that. It takes about 30 days to figure out if what you've actually set up is going to work. So make sure that you've filled out this calendar, and people do it one of 2 ways. They either look at this and decide that they're going to do all of their follow-up calls on Tuesdays and all of their customer support calls on Wednesdays and all of their administrative on Thursdays, and that's fine. Or some people choose to touch every part of their business every day. So they go through all of those categories and they make sure that every day they're doing a little bit on each one of them. It's up to you. You just want to make sure that you fit in all the activities that you identified in the amount of time that you came up with. You might be thinking that creating a schedule will limit you, and I want to tell you what it actually does is free you. Because now, if you have a schedule and you've gotten really clear with yourself about when you'll be doing all those activities that you need to do around your business, if you're doing something outside your business, like reading to your child or spending time with your family or having dinner, and your phone rings, you're not going to feel compelled to go answer it because you really need to talk to that person or you have to make those follow-up calls right now. The truth is, if it's on your schedule, then it's easy for you to know that you have it done, for you to relax, and for you to be present during that part of your life that doesn't deal with your work, so that your work doesn't completely take over every aspect of your life. The final piece of this time management pie is my weekly planning sheet, and I want to share with you how to use that now. What I'm showing you here is a filled out version of my own personal sheet, one of the recent ones I've done. What'll happen is you'll download the one from the ZebraNet and you'll personalize it yourself. So I want to walk you through this, and it's actually pretty simple. If you're using this in conjunction with your weekly schedule, these 2 tools can literally change the way that you work and can increase your productivity level by leaps and bounds. This planning sheet really gives you a place to create a big picture and a detailed plan for your business. So the top of this sheet allows you to place a photo, and mine changes every week depending on my focus for that week. And it represents sort of your theme for the week. Okay, and then next to that, you're going to put the theme that you've chosen either for the year or the quarter, and you'll notice that mine happened to be the same, Ride the Wave. I do quarterly planning, I do yearly planning, and I choose a theme for my business for each one of those. So the theme for this quarter happened to be Ride the Wave. And then I always choose a quote that I feel kind of will keep me on track. And I also list below that my core values, those things that motivate and make me feel fulfilled every day, because I want to remember to stay in those values, to continue living in those values as I plan my week. And then as you move down the page, the plan gets more specific. So you're going to identify the top 4 to 5 projects that you're working on under top 5 projects for Q2 in this case. And then you're going to identify 3 to 5 goals for the week, and you'll write those down in the middle column there. And then you're also going to list some daily activities that you're doing pretty much every day. These are things that you're committed to doing every day without fail, regardless of the rest of your plan. And so for me, you'll see that those tend to center around social media. And then the middle of this planning sheet is your actual plan for the week. And those are the activities that you're going to commit to each and every week that are going to help you reach that goal, or those goals that you've set in the above column. And then at the bottom of the page, you're keeping track of the people that you call and your goals and activities for the next week. So this is actually a really great planning sheet to do on Sunday night so that you're ready to step into your week on Monday with a really clear, consistent plan. So let's look at your action steps for this week. First of all, you want to complete that time management worksheet. There are additional instructions on the worksheet, and it's fairly self-explanatory. I did go through it on the training for you here today, but make sure that you get that done, and it's going to take you some time. So set aside some time, sit down, and really give this your attention. And then you also want to set up your schedule. Make sure that you take the time from that time management worksheet to create a schedule and then print it out so that you can see it. You can even share it with your family if you want, so they know when you're working, so you begin to integrate your business into your life. And then finally, fill out the weekly planning sheet beginning this next Sunday. So wherever you are in this process, on the next Sunday, fill out that weekly planning sheet and go forward with it from that day. I'll tell you that time management and your schedule will probably be the most challenging thing you'll deal with in your Pink Zebra business. And it's an ongoing process that you have to keep your eye on constantly. It's really important that you take the time now, before you get too overwhelmed and busy, to create these systems so that the harmony in your life does end up being maintained. So make sure that you take the time to go to ZebraNet, download the worksheets, and fill these out so that you begin to create that balance and harmony in your own life from the very beginning. That's all for this week. Next week is our final training, and we're going to be talking about goal setting and how you plan for the future of your Pink Zebra business. I'll look forward to seeing you then.